This is my video about BMXing, certain bikes. Now, this modification is not applicable for any kind of stunt bike or anything like that. This is purely designed for a BMX you designed to go faster than it should, which I will show you in a minute. Anyway, say for example you have a bike like this. Probably a lot better, of course, but it's not bad for the price I paid for it. But you got pretty much it, like that, right? Standard, even normal stuff on the front. Now I'm taking this one here and changing it up a little bit. Now, the speed idea I was saying, many people have done. Now you got a massive drive on the front and a very small one at the back. Like that. It's off an Eastern Ramrod of that. Now this bike is I think it's a stolen 2006 model or something, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, for this bike in plan, I've got some suspension forks like this, pure suspension, not much to them, but they only run on 10mm axles. Now they are actually from a T2 Mini Moto 49cc, very good, and these are the parts you're going to need. You probably need more depending on your bike model, like what runs up here and all this. You're probably going to need more than what's there. I'll shut off you in your noisy car. Right, to get these to sit properly up top of here, like that, what you're going to need is the original bearing housing, right? And what you're going to need is you're going to need some of these. Now you're thinking, how do I get those two to connect? Well, there's a way of doing that. If you get them the right height, they actually sit properly inside. Now, if they can just slip through by like really easy, like that, you want to put these ones on the top, because the bottom is the one that's going to be taking the most stress. That's why I've got this one. It sticks out a bit. On the bottom, it's got a little gap, like just under there. Now that is ideal to go on the bottom, just under there, because what the actual layout is, one will sit on there and you'll get your bar to go through like that. You're going to need a pretty long one, because you're going to need to get it through one of them. Now this is an extremely old one, so I don't mind breaking it. I got this originally with that bike, and that thing was absolutely wrecked when I got it. Probably in this video you can see most of the damage on it. It's not my kind of bike. But anyway, inside here you're going to need some more of these. You're going to need about 4 of these to be exact. But these ones are actually from a wheel from a Mini Moto, which is, bear with me, there we go, is actually out of this kind of tyre here. Now this wheel is pretty much fucked, because this one's missing, and I pulled the brake too hard, which has happened before. This will snap off and take half the axle with it. Useful for spare tread though, and a brake. What a disc. But anyway, I'll talk you through on how to do this step by step, but this, as said, is not a stunt idea. It's not a good idea if you do not know what you're doing. It does work, the actual tricks. I've built it before, but I'm actually going for the full run. But there is something that if you do it wrong, can be fatal. Well, not fatal, fetal, whatever the bloody word is these days. Now, this is the original. Now if I stick that down like that, like such forth, now look at the size difference. Now we don't need to be a smart ass to realise that's metal. That's not. That's that kind of crushed metal pushed together. Now, which side's the worst? Here we go. Stay innocent. Twist that round. See this here? All that mark? That is where I used a very easy moving one on the bottom. Because you sit it there, that part is the bike. But originally I think it was, no, it was the other way up, right? And also to stop this, the gap, I actually had to put this in, because after these, they don't run them, the clamps because the bar bits broke. I actually had to drill into these themselves and actually bolt it straight in. Now once I tried doing a stunt on it, it snapped, and I only ran this actual one for about 3 weeks. Not a good idea. There's about one left in there. That's all I was running on. But even on the sides, they were bolted so the suspension did not move. It's pretty bad, I suppose. Right. This is pretty much your basic layout of what it's going to look like. Now, I've only quickly slammed it together, but obviously this is still going to move. But that is your basic layout. Because you got your bearings in there holding it up, and those bits are going to sit into your bike obviously, and that's the loose one. Then you got, bet you're wondering what the spring's for. That's originally going to go on a washer, but that is so when you tighten it, these actually give some lift, a little bit as well, some reforce, or whatever the word is. It's so it fits nicely and actually runs properly. Now that that is actually from a car's exhaust. That's the part on the cat, you know, the springs that hold on the cat. But because I don't have one anymore, doesn't matter. But I only quickly slammed it together just so you can see what's going on. But each bit is a piece of piss, because you got your bottom bit, your bottom drive, your spring. Usually you're gonna need a spacer. Obviously they're not gonna, because if you don't use a spacer, it's not really sit, you see. Sometimes people use washers and custom lengths. That's right. Now in the actual BMX top part, we had 4 bearings. You're going to want to put some in there. Now these move obviously, but after a while it doesn't matter, because what you need is just for it to stay a little bit stable, which the top part does for that. Now any BMX top headpiece like that, headset part, whatever it is, will fit. And of course that will fit onto the bike. Well, there we go, it is fitted. Everything I showed you is in there. Bolts are in there, not bolts, the things are in there. Bearing things. When you put them in, it would be a good idea to do these up. That normal headset, oh Christ, don't fall off, thank you. See under there, the whole bearing bit. There's a new one on the no there isn't. The stronger one's on the bottom, which is visible, and I've double bolted it to be safe. The next plan, some bikes you have to do this unless you got stuff like that bearing but pure metal, then you won't need to do this bit. Hang on. The only way you'd be able to get away with that is actually weld it inside, or get one of these with a real small top. But either way, you're gonna have to do this next bit if you want to, unless you want the whole thing to move. But as you can see, the whole thing goes round with ease. There's a horrible grinding sound, but that's because I got dodgy bearings. They've never been perfect. That bloody brake cable, I don't like that thing, it's horrible. Anyway, yeah, with this I got the one that drops down, nothing but solid, such as really. I'm gonna get what I need to do now, which is on these set bars here from an old build, is actually on one of my old ones. I got one of them bolted to it, as you can see. Well, it was bolted till it sheared off, but get one of them, just an L, right? It does work, because I've done it. You want to get one both sides of this and get it screwed into there, but make sure this is dead straight. Now it's not that hard to do. Now if your top pieces don't have holes in, because originally on the mini motos you've got these things holding on your bars which go like there, and you know, like down here, stuff like that, as on the old ones, which here the holes are already pre there and they're not on the bottom, you see. I had to actually drill mine and I'll tell you what, it was a pain in the backside to get them through. But yeah, if you get one of them, these little things down there, that will sit in the very corner. Just make sure not too close. That needs shifting actually. Yeah, that's a piece of it. Right, you get them bolted in, and when I say you need to bolt them in, I don't mean silly little bolts. Just trying to think where I put the one originally. The one I got for it is quite pants, so I'm going to change it. But when I say a bolt, I mean something like this, something heavy duty, because you think you're going to be basically making that screw hole your own, like so it screws in, doesn't fall straight through. Unless you got a tap, die tap or whatever you call them, it makes the grooves for you. You're going to need to manually do it yourself. But yeah. Right, now to get the actual forks on, and hope for the best. Actually no, then next, thereafter this, I'm going to get my L plate on it, call it an L plate for now, and see where we get to. This is more or less what it's going to stand like once it's all done. Got me bars in, well, me forks, they're in, pure bolted, with what I told you on the last one was missing. None of these are actually screwed in. It's all pure done, right? Even though this video's upside down. Right, I've done my old plate this side. I already had that hole there, because this was on the previous. Once again, I've sheared the bloody bolt off, but the gap and the distance and the thickness of this will make up for it, because it doesn't fully need to be screwed in. I must just stop using crap bolts, really. Done the other side as well. That one's not exactly fantastic, but that's bolted down, and that is actually right up against it. Now that isn't moving. There's no way that's going anywhere. Now the next plan is to get the bars on and also redo the brake. The problem with this little modification, you do need to use a straight lead. Straight cable. You can't use a gyro, because if you look, once it's all together, there is no part for a gyro. Unless you can be a real clever ass and get the wires to come down here and bolt up into there and mix it with this, and that's beyond my capabilities. Besides, I wouldn't even dare try it. I ain't got the parts to do it. Don't you fall over, you little smeg. But that's what it looks like so far. Next one's just to get the bars on, brake wired up, and it's finished. And here we have one full built bike with the suspension. As I said before earlier on, this is just a little muck around idea, really. But simple. I wouldn't advise you do stunts on it, not unless, like, well, you can. Weirdly enough, you can put mountain bike suspension on a BMX as well. I've done that as well before, and that's actually a nifty trick. But I've just done it so, because those are actually a lot softer than standard mountain bike suspension, and causing me drives and having that, it's pretty good actually. They do respond rather well. The only problem is you've got to keep them oiled. And these were actually originally from a Moto that had dirt on it, but you can't really see it. It says on the side super dirt. God knows. As I said, you're only going to need a straight cable once you've wired it all up. You know, pretty basic, pretty simple. But that's pretty much what it will come out like, sort of, really. Yeah, any questions, ask. This trick can use for stunts or like more rough kind of ground ideas. Use mountain bike suspension, not mini moto, because they do have a weight limit. But yeah, that's pretty much what you get.